Industrial manufacturers abuse your inattention and naivety in 1,000 ways. Here are 10 examples of how manufacturers deceive you. When you are at a supermarket, you pay attention to the price of the products, maybe also to the ingredients when it comes to food. This is a natural thing to do, but this is a basic level of vigilance. Few consumers pay attention to the weight indications, to the disproportions of the packaging, to the rectifying mentions written in very small letters. In fact, when you go to the supermarket, you are likely to be fooled by the big industrial machine. Of course, you will not be the victim of revolting and obvious deceptions. On the other hand, you are likely to fall into 1,000 little imperceptible traps. There is no legal text condemning the tricks of industrial manufacturers. The game is played only between your discernment and the malice of the producer. Let's see some cases where the dishonesty of the manufacturers goes beyond the limit of decency until it becomes comical. So you are in a supermarket with your daughter who is no more than 8 years old. You know very well what she might like, and not all children's games are affordable. That day you're happy because your daughter didn't beg you to buy a bulky expensive board game. She just wants to buy a nice glittery pen with a beautiful unicorn on it. The price is around €5. You are willing to do this for her and you buy 3 of these rather nice pens. Your daughter is happy to be able to draw with this unicorn pen. It is her favorite hobby now. You are touched by all the touching drawings she makes of you, in which she mercilessly disfigures you. You hug her and encourage her, but soon after you notice that your daughter no longer draws. The reason is that there is no more ink in those fairy pens. Yet you bought several of them. Surprised, you decide to take the object apart, and your suspicions are confirmed. The ink cartridge is very small. It does not measure a quarter of the length of the pen. Of course, the glittery envelope of the product does not allow you to see the scam, so you decide to be more vigilant in the future and not to rely on pretty appearances. The case we're going to talk about now is a marvel of dishonesty. It is about a cosmetic industry, and the incriminated product is a moisturizing cream containing green tea seeds. The company wanted to market this new product. To lure consumers, the company made it appear that this moisture was contained not in a plastic bottle, but in a paper bottle. To eliminate any uncertainty in the buyer's mind, the company wrote in large letters on the product packaging, "Hello, I'm a paper bottle." The designers must have been pleased with this unstoppable catchphrase. They must have thought that the sentence was too affirmative to leave any room for suspicion, especially since respect for the environment is a sensitive issue for consumers, and therefore their weak point. But the consumer can be as smart as the producer. When this cosmetic product was launched, it had sold quite well. And so, the blindness of the public rewarded the malicious imagination of the manufacturers. However, the scandal eventually broke. A consumer brought the whole deception to light. In reality, the bottle was made of plastic, albeit covered with a thin layer of paper. This case triggered a great deal of indignation among many people who were genuinely concerned about the environment. They were outraged by this dishonest process, which they called greenwashing. But that's not all. Being accused, the company dared to say that it had not imagined that the tagline, "Hello, I'm a paper bottle," would make people believe that the whole bottle would be made of paper. The company apologized for this unfortunate misunderstanding and assured that they still recycle plastic bottles. Nice try! Basically, the consumer is too stupid not to have read, "Hello, I'm pretending to be a paper bottle." Since then, no product has allowed itself such a camouflage, and the company that invented this pseudo-ecological cream has seen its reputation suffer. But that's only fair. Here's a product that might appeal to children. This case is similar to the first one, but the deception is more obvious. Of all the items on the market with deceptive elements, the worst are those intended for children. Some designers not only want to abuse their innocence, but also use it as a guarantee of impunity, because a child is less likely to see that he or she has been deceived than an adult. It's Christmas and you're planning to give a gift to your little cousin who loves coloring. So you give him a box containing 150 multicolored markers. With so many, your little cousin can misplace as many as he wants. He'll have plenty left over. When the little boy unwraps the gift in front of you and opens the plastic box, you are both disappointed. So, what ways have the manufacturers found to fool you this time? Well, you realize it immediately. First, let's look at the bright side. The box still contains a fair number of colored markers, so your little cousin's disappointment is somewhat tempered. The downside, however, is that you can see for yourself. The markers are not arranged in all parts of the box. An instruction manual takes up the entire center. Don't bother to count the pens. Your intuition is right. There are fewer than expected. On the package it says that the set contains 150 pieces, but there are only 75 markers or half of that. So you guess that the designers also counted the felt caps, which are indeed separate pieces. You feel dismayed. You don't even want to read the instructions. What on earth are they? Safety instructions written in 100 languages, or a disclaimer from the lawyers trying to prove that the advertisement is not false? In any case, you are crying out against the dishonesty of the producers, swearing to yourself that you will never fall for it again. A friend of yours has recently told you that he is more and more interested in mountaineering, and that he would be tempted to practice the sport for the first time. It would be a great pleasure for him. You listen to him with pleasure because the conversation of a person who talks about his dreams is always pleasant. In the back of your mind, you are planning to give him a gift that would express your encouragement. So you naturally think of providing her with a suitable equipment. And the idea of giving him a climbing rope comes to mind. It is both accessible and indispensable. You hurry to make the purchase, and instead of going to a sporting goods store, you go to a big box store. You buy the rope cheaply, wrapped in a plastic coating. You don't know much about mountaineering, and your friend is hardly more knowledgeable than you about the subject. You give him the gift, and he is delighted. However, he doesn't enjoy it for long and tactfully expressed to you that your intention was excellent, but that your gift will not serve him. Why not? Well, you have to look at the packaging. It shows the figure of a mountaineering holding a rope, both feet planted on the side of a mountain and ready to climb. However, a barely visible note belies the meaning of this design, and you almost need a magnifying glass to decipher. Not suitable for climbing. You have been deceived. When buying a climbing rope, you need to consider the diameter, thickness, length, weight, and what is called the impact force. You were far from knowledgeable, but now you know where you stand. This is another example of dishonesty targeting children. You are once again with your unlucky little cousin. You give him all kinds of candy to make him happy, but he especially wants a lollipop that he saw in one of the displays. It's Lollipop in the shape of a panda head. You buy it without hesitation, and the little cousin is delighted. But again, as with the box of felt pens, he will soon become disenchanted. By removing the transparent plastic coating, he also made the panda head disappear, which was only drawn on the packaging. It's just a plain, dull, white lollipop. This time, your little cousin can't take it anymore. He cries. You console him and promise him that he won't have any more bad surprises in the future. No matter how much you guard against the little commercial traps, you can't avoid them all, for the simple reason that some deceptions are only revealed when you open the product. You are in a supermarket, you walk through the sweets section, you decide to buy a box of chocolate. It's cheaper than the other boxes, and the aesthetics of the packaging seduce you. You can't wait to taste these chocolates and share them with your loved ones. You open the box, and immediately it is the general alarm. You almost feel like laughing. It is a real nosedive that the manufacturer made you. There are chocolates, but only in the small part visible through the box. The rest is empty. You wanted a dessert and you got a desert. This type of scam, fortunately rare, you will have a little trouble anticipating them. One solution would be to press the box hard in your hands when you are in the store. That's a good lesson learned. If you think that this learning will help you in the future, you are wrong. Now you decide to buy a pizza pepperoni in the frozen food section. You squeeze the thickness of the box and you don't notice anything strange. Sure, it's pizza and the method is not right. When you get home, you heat up the oven and take the pizza out of the box. Unfortunately, you are still trapped. There are only pepperoni in the visible part of the package, which is a little less than half. You can choose to enjoy the pizza despite the asymmetry or spread the pepperoni all over the surface. Enjoy your meal! Now let's tackle a much more common problem that upsets many people: the half-empty potato chip packet. No matter which brand you buy, you notice that the package is never completely full. You want to know why all manufacturers do this and never deviate from this production habit. Is it to deceive you? Is there a conspiracy between the companies on the back of the consumer? It is true to say that sometimes too much empty space in the product is a dishonest process. However, the case of potato chips is an exception. The reason for the small amount of space in the package is to prevent the chips from crumbling during packaging and transportation. Moreover, there's no air in these packages. It is nitrogen, which keeps the chips crispy. That said, you're not necessarily safe from small abuses. Always read the labels and check the weight. There you have it. You got your answers, and the phenomenon of half-empty chip packets is finally explained. If you learned the painful lesson of the previous cases, you won't fall into the crude trap set for you by the manufacturers of this cosmetic product. This time you're browsing the hygiene section. You need a shower gel. A bottle, among others, attracts your curiosity. It is a shower gel with a strawberry scent. You take the product, you examine it, turn it over again. Something bothers you. You feel a slight indentation in the center of the bottle. The more you press, the more you are convinced. To eliminate your last doubts, you decide to tear off the thin coating of the bottle. What follows surpasses your suspicions. It is a gaping hole. You're indignant, but still very happy to have thwarted this mystification. Nobody will be fooled anymore. You talk to the person in charge, who apologizes cordially to you. He assures you that he knew nothing about this imperfection and that he will withdraw the product immediately. Of course, he will not hurry to do so, and maybe he will not do it at all, because you have to sell first. Other consumers, less savvy than you, will buy it. This is the end of our video, which will certainly leave you with a bitter aftertaste. There is a lot to be sorry for when you see all the despicable inventiveness of these unethical manufacturers. Feel free to tell us what you think. Which of these deceptions is the most shocking?